Okay, and then respiration. Well, I think respiration deserves its own category. That's why I put it there. Okay, so, and the best thing about the Alexandrian High lessons, from my point of view, is I learned that seesaw breathing was not the only breathing lesson that we had. There's great breathing lessons in 12 o'clock, like 216. Twisting the crap out of your rib cage. You know what 216 is? Giving your rib cage an FI. So you're lying like this, and you're side bent, and then you're moving your ribs around in all kinds of interesting ways. Great lesson. Or, these are really beautiful titles. For the man who said, be careful what metaphors you use when you're teaching. Gluing the lungs. You can really appreciate today, right? Welding the lungs. Welding the lungs, by the way, I think is a bad translation.
Welding the ribs?
No, it's called welding the lungs.
Is there one called welding the ribs also?
I don't think so.
Same.
Yeah, it might be the same thing. But I can't remember what this technique is called. I have a friend, Scott Clark from London, who's a dancer, and somebody who plays medieval instruments, but only after he makes them, something like that. He built a clavichord once. So, he's a very talented guy. But he said, in the mentor training, he said that there's this technique with metal where you hammer a piece of metal into a shape. And he says that he thinks that that's the word that Moshe was using in welding the lungs, because it's this idea of pressing in different places and changing the shape of the lungs around that. But they're really beautiful lessons, And then there's my lessons. Like I said, you can hate any lessons, and there are lessons I hate, 4-part breathing. So there's lots of cool breathing lessons, Pushing the belly out while you're exhaling, pulling the belly in while you're exhaling. So tons of lessons. But they also are, those lessons, I think, being about breathing is enough. That's something that holds a lesson together. Okay? But as this conversation I was having with Pam a few minutes ago points out, the lesson, whether the lesson is about foundation, if that's the thing that holds it together or not, foundation is a part of every lesson. Unless you're teaching on the space shuttle and people are floating. The method is terrestrial. It has to do with your contact with the floor. If you worked in one of Frank's trainings or somebody who was influenced by him, then, ground reaction force is a way of talking about foundation. Every movement we have, you can't do it without mom. I stand up, I push down. I need the earth there. So foundation is an element of every lesson, and it's an element of every movement. And what you can see in lessons is that all of these things play a role in the instructions that we give and how we work with lessons.